Republicans is F around and find out. They started this war, and we're going to finish it.
Please be my guest. I will pay for you to come down to Florida and campaign. I'll put you up in the Florida governor's mansion. There's nothing that could be better for Republicans in Florida than to see Jeffries, Hakeem Jeffries, everywhere around this state.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. What we're witnessing right now is a massive political fight that will ultimately determine the future of this country. On one hand, you have President Trump, who's been winning big because the Supreme Court just handed Republicans a massive victory in terms of redistricting, which I'm gonna get to in a bit. On the other hand, you have Democrats like Hakeem Jeffries, which is pretty incompetent in my opinion, because they tried to redistrict in Virginia and that effort largely failed, and then he turned his sights onto Florida, trying to pick a political fight with the governor. And the governor of Florida literally just passed a redistricting map that will completely wipe out Democrats. And Hakeem Jeffries and the rest of the Democrats are having a complete and utter meltdown. Let us get into it, starting with this reporting on this move by Florida Governor Ron DeSantis. Play clip.
Moments ago, the Florida State Senate approved a new congressional map proposed by Governor Ron DeSantis that could give the GOP a 4-seat advantage in Congress. Florida is the latest state to enter the redistricting fight ahead of the midterms.
The House voting 83-28, the Senate 21-17, as you mentioned, resulting in the possibility of 4 Republican-leading seats in the House. Now, today, both Republicans and Democrats had the opportunity to debate the map. We saw Democrats heavily debated, calling the map not only unconstitutional, but politically motivated.
This is happening because Democrats, they try to illegally gerrymander in Virginia, and this move by Governor Ron DeSantis and Florida will give Republicans 4 additional seats in Congress. And as I mentioned before, that move by the Democrats in Virginia, it was blocked by a judge because it was illegal. And here we have a clip of Hakeem Jeffries having a complete meltdown over this move by Florida Governor Ron DeSantis. Play clip.
Ron DeSantis is putting his own congressional delegation in jeopardy, which probably shouldn't be surprising because all of them, as I understand it, can't stand the charismatically challenged lame duck governor of Florida.
I have said this before and I'll say it again. When Democrats, they don't have an argument in opposition of someone's policy, what they proceed to do is attack that person's character. And the question that I have is, what does charisma has to do with anything? And I'm pretty sure if I put Hakeem Jeffries side by side with Governor Ron DeSantis and compare how much they've accomplished over their career, I'm pretty sure Governor Ron DeSantis will beat Hakeem Jeffries by any margin, because we know Hakeem Jeffries is a DEI hire. And here we have a video of Governor Ron DeSantis completely humiliating Hakeem Jeffries. Play clip.
We gonna do maximum warfare against Republicans. Florida Republicans, you F around, you gonna find out all this stuff. And you know, what I said was, listen, and he's like, oh, if you do the redistricting, we're gonna take out all your members, we're gonna do all this stuff. And what I said was, go ahead, make my day. You don't think we're gonna, you wanna come down here and spend money and in Florida, roll the dice and take your chances, but don't think that you can come down here, issue threats to us, and somehow you're gonna make us flinch. That is not happening, and in fact, it did not happen, because as soon as he came out and started doing that last week, Florida legislature turned around and they passed a new map.
That was Florida Governor Ron DeSantis completely humiliating Hakeem Jeffries after Hakeem Jeffries made a whole bunch of empty threats, basically. And there's this video that I want to show you after this bill was introduced in the Florida Senate, that this Democrat had a complete meltdown. I think the Florida legislature, I'm not sure if the Senate or the House, but needless to say, she had a complete and utter meltdown on the floor. Play clip.
Our democracy, this is a violation of the Constitution. It is. It's a violation of the Constitution. I'm out of order, but y'all are doing illegal.
Representative Persons Mullica has waived close. The question now recurs on final passage.
This right here is performative politics at its finest because she's dressed in all pink with a pink megaphone. I don't know how someone can actually take her serious, and it's not Cancer Awareness Month. But needless to say, if she truly believes that this violated the Constitution, where was she and the rest of the Democrats when they passed that redistricting bill in Virginia, where Democrats controlled all but one district in that state? The next reason that's causing Democrats to collapse in real time is because the Supreme Court just gave Republicans a massive win. The Supreme Court ruled on the Voting Rights Act and told states that they cannot gerrymander solely based on race. And this is causing Democrats to have a complete meltdown because what they want to do, they want to keep the American people divided so they can stay in power, which is insane. Let us get into it, starting with this reporting explaining what the Supreme Court just did. Play clip.
Today against a black majority district in Louisiana that rolls back a key provision of the Voting Rights Act. We get details tonight from Fox News chief legal correspondent, anchor of Fox News Sunday, Shannon Bream.
Certainly, the precedent of this decision will impact other states.
As redistricting fights across the country aim to reshape the midterm playing field, the Supreme Court has issued a decision that could send states scrambling to redraw maps in a move seen favorable to Republicans and one that has the potential to impact somewhere in the neighborhood of roughly 20 current congressional districts.
Was it considered a win for who?
A win for Republicans.
I love it.
The 6-3 opinion finds Louisiana erred in drawing a second predominantly black district, which it had done in response to earlier litigation challenging its map at the time. Justice Alito, writing for the majority, quote, "No compelling interest justified the state's use of race in creating SB 8.
This is a massive one for Republicans and for the country as a whole, because what this shows is that the country is progressing and that we should not be divided on race. And the Democrats, they're always painting the picture that conservatives, that Republicans, they are the racist ones. And here we have Hakeem Jeffries completely melting down and waging war on the Supreme Court. Play clip.
And so the guy's falling apart. The MAGA majorities in Congress are falling apart. The Supreme Court is a disgrace. And Ben, in the new Congress, we're going to have to do something about this Supreme Court. And let me be very clear. Everything is on the table. Everything to deal with this corrupt MAGA majority that is issuing political opinions that are designed to bolster the prospects of the Republican Party, and we will not allow them to succeed.
That was Hakeem Jeffries making it clear that when Democrats take back power, that they'll do everything to change the current Supreme Court, all because the Supreme Court just ruled that a state cannot separate its people based on race, because that is illegal, and that goes against everything, because by definition, that is segregation, and this is what the Democrats are fighting for. And here we have Senator Mike Lee actually making it clear that to separate people by race is illegal. Play clip.
Look, what the Supreme Court did today was right. What the Supreme Court did today was to say that it's not okay to engage in racial gerrymandering. Now, the government, under the Constitution, is not supposed to treat you differently based on your race. Almost never is that appropriate. There are very, very few circumstances where it is, and this is not one of those. And so there's nothing surprising, nothing unconstitutional, nothing contrary to the text of the statute about this. The Supreme Court simply acknowledged what has long been the law, which is that with very few exceptions, not present here, the government can't treat you differently based on your race. That's not a problem. That's the right outcome. It's what the law requires, and it's what the Constitution demands.
I agree with the senator. The government should not treat people differently based on race. And this is what the Democrats are advocating for, because by definition, this is segregation whenever you separate a group of people by a geographical boundaries based on race. That is segregation. And that is what the Democrats are advocating for. And here we have a clip of Chuck Schumer claiming that we're reverting back to Jim Crow based on this move from the Supreme Court. Let us watch this clip.
And today we're ramping up our efforts. We see the need for it just today in today's Supreme Court decision, which was a despicable decision. That is a return to Jim Crow, taking decades of hard work, sweat, blood, and tears, and even people dying for the right to vote, to prevent racial discrimination in the right to vote. We see what they're doing in the SAVE Act, which would disenfranchise 20 million people. And we are fighting that every step of the way. And as I said, today we're ramping up our efforts. And what are we doing? We are
That right there is a complete lie, because no one will lose their right to vote. Black folks, we won't lose our right to vote. And this is what the Democrats, they do. They fearmonger because they're the ones who's going to lose power, because a lot of these maps, when they were drawn to favor Democrats. And right now they're panicking. They're freaking out. And that brings us to the end of today's show. Please let me know what you think in the comment section below. Thank you for watching all the way to the end. Also, please consider liking, sharing, commenting, and subscribing. And I'll see you in the next one.